set up a double standard of justice, one for police and one for citizens, it means that all people, the rights, the life, the liberty, the dignity and worth of personality of all people should be respected. And finally, nonviolent direct action. And I see Black Lives Matter as engaging in these kinds of approaches today in order to improve Black community relations with law enforcement.
You know, one of the things that I think you'll notice, Dr. Baldwin, and you've probably heard people make some statements in reference to it, is that Black Lives Matter has been maligned by many people.
Exactly.
And I think that we see that organization as trying to accomplish exactly what you laid out there, that they are, in a real sense, instead of trying to create a problem, they're trying to deal with a problem, solve a problem.
Exactly. We need to keep in mind that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was accused of creating problems. He was accused of initiating violence. But what he was concerned about was what? Eliminating violence and bringing about goodwill and cooperation between peoples of different racial, ethnic, and political, religious backgrounds. And if you look at the Black Lives Matter, it's not a black movement. It's a movement made up of blacks, of whites, of LGBT people, from the lesbian, gay, transgender communities, people of different religious backgrounds. They are coming together to fight for equal rights, for justice, not only for people in the police department, but for people in our local communities. And they understand that if you're going to resolve this problem, you need people who speak with the voices of reason and objectivity. And you don't see a lot of that on the extreme right. You don't see a lot of it on the extreme left.
And so, in a real sense, if we could all get behind some idea in terms of trying to bring about better relationships between the police departments and the African-American community or minority communities, or the police department and other communities.
That's
because
right.
African-Americans and others
Black
are
and
not
brown.
All of us are affected by this, and if we think in terms of trying to bring about a better relationship and each person commits himself or herself to that idea, you think we might be able to accomplish something?
I think we will, and I would add that the upcoming presidential election in November 2016 will have a great impact on whether or not we're able to translate certain kinds of ideals and values into a system that is beneficial to both black communities or minority communities and the police or law enforcement. Because we need a society in which the rights, the dignity and worth of all people,
persons, I agree with that.
Are respected.
That's exactly
and I read recently where there is an effort in Tennessee to come up with a Blue Lives Matter law, which increases the penalty for the abuse and the killing of police. We need that for all Americans. We don't want to give the impression that we're setting up a double standard of justice in America, and too many of us give that impression. We need a standard of justice that benefits all citizens, that recognizes that people in law enforcement are like the rest of us. They're not above the law. They must conform very much to the values, the standards, the laws embodied in the Constitution, just like the rest of us.
And you know, Dr. Baldwin, I might be too optimistic in reference to this, but I think that as a historian, you've had an opportunity to see race relations from slavery up until now. And we know that there were atrocities that were committed during these earlier periods up until now, that there would be nothing like that today, etc. And so we overcame lynching.
That's right.
We overcame burning.
That's right.
And we overcame all of these things. And in many instances, when we overcame them, the law was often involved with that. I think you mentioned Emmett Till. Well, the law was involved with that.
That's right. You can't engage in those kinds of practices anymore, lynchings and burnings. And so we need to understand this whole issue in a larger historical context and come up with solutions that involve not only our religious institutions, but our orders of police around the country, fraternal orders of police, federal government. And I think we can solve this problem. Otherwise, as Dr. King pointed out, if we don't learn to live together as brothers and sisters,
amen.
We will perish together
right.
as fools.
And I'm optimistic, Dr. Baldwin, that things will get better.